What if this short little bus route was instead a zippy, futuristic skypod? Well, it could have been. We're opening the vault for this one, some footage I kinda forgot about. See, back when I lived in Chicago, 2 years ago already, I was doing a little series where I found some interesting bus routes in the city and the surrounding suburbs. I rode the very last X98 ghost bus ever, I crowned the 603 Chicago's most comfortable bus, and the 223 the most confusing. The next bus I wanted to find was which route would be considered Chicago's shortest. There are plenty of candidates, but when you look at the map and at scheduled run times, it seems to me there's a clear winner. The 811 Rosemont Entertainment Circulator. Now, some of you may be like, hey, that's Rosemont, that's not Chicago, and normally I'm totally with you. Chicago is Chicago, the burbs are the burbs. Excuse me, you're from Naperville. But when it comes to transit, specifically the bus network, I do think it's fair to talk about one system. Both the CTA buses and suburban PACE buses are well integrated. Day passes cover both, month passes cover both. The PACE route numbers start where the CTA ones end. This integration is possible thanks to the Regional Transportation Authority. So anyways, Rosemont. When you're at the L station, all you can see around you is highways. When you look at it from the sky, all you can see is highways too. Somewhere out there though, there is a residential area that 3,900 people call home. Rosemont is a busy station nevertheless, because it acts as the gateway to the northwest suburbs. From here, buses fan out to reach the far corners of the burbs. Except the 811. The circulator stays very local. See, Rosemont is home to a variety of entertainment venues. A mall, convention center, the Allstate Arena, which, by the way, is where Lindsay and I were definitely the youngest people in the crowd at a Rick Astley concert. Totally worth it. The 811 connects a bunch of these venues on the south side of the village with the train station. So today we're going to ride the entertainment circulator. They should be running about every 10 minutes, so I'm just here waiting for it. Normally they leave from bus stop A, which is the closest to the train station and the door. It shares that with the 223. But sometimes I do see it leave from other stops as well. So we'll see how long we have to wait here and how far we have to walk. As you can see, the 811 uses smaller buses, ones that you'd normally find on paratransit services. Hello. The seats are very comfortable, but I find that's usually the case in vans like these. For wheelchair users, there is a lift. So I'm traveling with some friends today. Can one of you guys start a timer on your phone? I just want to see how long this takes. Buses run about every 10 minutes, and the great thing is, it is completely fare-free. Good, because it won't be a very long trip. We take River Road underneath the highways, and then we turn onto Bryn Mawr Avenue, Park Place, until we eventually find ourselves driving underneath a giant parking garage, on our way to our first stop, the AMC Dine-In Theater. The distance this bus travels is very short, really. It's the kind of thing that you'd normally just walk to. You know, if the walkability hadn't been brutally slaughtered by giant highways and stroads. To avoid the same fate for yourself, well, the bus is an option. I feel like in a lot of cities, this would be an independently operated shuttle. I'm thinking of like the Kennedy Center shuttle in Washington, D.C. But it is nice that Pace runs it, and so it's on the map and integrated at Rosemont bus station, stuff like that. Our next stop is the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center. So here's a, well, not so fun fact about Rosemont. The Economist calls it the last true political machine in America. Since Rosemont was incorporated as a village in 1956, 2 people have been mayor. Donald Stevens until 2007, and then his son Bradley Stevens. Stevens Jr. still is the mayor. And the mayor's nephew? Well, he owns the convention center. And the mayor's brother owns a bunch of the parking in Rosemont. Reports of insider deals are not uncommon here. It helps to know a member of the Stevens family in the family business, also known as Rosemont. Hey, at least the bus is free. The bus, by the way, is kind of a backup option. Back in the 1990s, Rosemont had some grand plans. Back at Rosemont, time to check the timer. Wow, 16 minutes exactly. Rosemont was supposed to be home to a futuristic personal rapid transit system. PRT, is that like the pods in West Virginia? Exactly. If you go to Morgantown, you can experience the wonders of personal rapid transit. You show up at a station, and rather than getting on a regular train, you press a button indicating where you want to go to. A pod then shows up and takes you, just you, there, without stopping anywhere else. It's like a combination between a vertical elevator and a private limo service. The Morgantown PRT was built in the 1970s, kind of at the peak of individualism in transportation. The advantages of transit, but more like a car, which is what everybody wants, right? The Morgantown PRT ran into some budget overruns and other issues, so for a while, nothing really happened on the PRT front. But in the 90s, the RTA announced that they wanted to build a personal rapid transit system, and so 6 cities applied to host it. Eventually, Rosemont was selected, and an extensive system was supposed to connect both of the Rosemont train stations with all the hotels, venues, even the O'Hare transit system. The pods were going to be a little bit different than the ones in West Virginia. They were going to be smaller, carrying just 4 people. They would run at up to 30 miles per hour, 24 hours a day, with headways as short as 2.5 seconds. And Raytheon was going to build it. Raytheon, the defense contractor? Yes. Defense contractors, we advertise on the DC Metro. Raytheon built a test track in Marlborough, Massachusetts, to demonstrate the technology. But as we all know, there is no PRT in Rosemont today. We've got the bus. So what happened? Well, there were a number of factors that ultimately led to the PRT program being canceled. One factor was that no federal funding was to be used so that the process could go faster. As the costs ballooned, it became less and less likely that PRT could ever be built, and Raytheon had issues of their own. While initially they wanted to use linear motor cars, ultimately they decided on more traditional technology. They also had to make the pods bigger because the small size couldn't accommodate wheelchairs. Bigger pods meant larger headways and a heavier track, so higher costs. Ultimately, in October of 1999, which, is not the worst month in world history, Raytheon pulled out of the public transit market altogether, and that slashed any hopes that were left of Rosemont having their own PRT. And you know what? I know that PRTs are gadgets and other modes of transportation are better, but in this case, I do think it's kind of sad. I mean, I used Rosemont Station every day for a year, and it would have been a lot of fun to take the PRT to go to different venues. Rosemont is so car-centric, and it is so hard to walk around there. But at the same time, there are so many attractions that it might have actually been a good case study for a place where PRT could have worked. I guess we'll never know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this doubleheader of a video about Chicago's shortest bus and the failed futuristic personal rapid transit system. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Trains Are Awesome. We'll see you next time.